There is a question very few people dare to face honestly during the best years of their lives. What if the very ambition that has carried you far in your career is also the thing quietly draining your soul day after day? What if what you call motivation is actually a polished form of inner restlessness? What if you have spent too many years climbing a ladder, only to suddenly realize one day that the ladder has been leaning against the wrong wall all along? Some people look successful from the outside. They have a good job, real achievements, recognition, a packed schedule, and milestones that make others admire them. But deep inside, they live in a very strange state. They do not truly rest. Even when they are resting, they do not truly feel at peace. Even after reaching what they once dreamed of, they always feel they need to run a little faster, be a little better than others, prove themselves a little more. And day after day, their mind becomes a silent battlefield. No one sees it, no one hears it, but they know clearly that inside them there is an ongoing conflict between worldly success and the peace of the soul. Our time has made that conflict more intense than ever. We live in a world where speed is glorified, where being busy is treated as a symbol of worth, where people are measured by performance, by title, by income, by what can be displayed, rather than by the depth of their consciousness. In a hyper-competitive digital economy, we do not just work. We are surrounded by comparison, pressure, algorithms, social expectations, the fear of being left behind, and the obsession with always moving forward. It can seem as though if you do not push yourself hard, you will fall behind. If you do not compete, you will lose. If you do not sacrifice your peace, you will never break through. But is that really true? The Buddha taught that suffering does not come from living in the world. It comes from the way the mind clings to the world. The issue is not whether you have goals. The issue is not whether you build a career. The issue is not whether you earn money, lead, create, contribute, or succeed. The real question is this: from what place within you are you doing all of those things? From clarity or from lack? From presence or from anxiety? From true value or from a hunger to be recognized? The middle path does not teach us to abandon life. It does not tell you to reject ambition, leave your work behind, or treat success as something bad. The middle path is wisdom that helps you avoid two extremes. On one side is passivity, living vaguely, without direction, not daring to grow. On the other side is throwing yourself into an endless race, turning achievement into identity, and sacrificing your inner peace for a short-lived feeling of victory. The middle path is not standing in the middle in some half-hearted way. It is walking rightly. It is knowing when to advance with strength, when to pause with awareness, and how to act powerfully without burning your own mind in the process. Perhaps the most painful thing is not failure. Perhaps the deepest pain is success that still feels empty, reaching something you once believed would make you happy, only to find that the joy lasts briefly, and then another destination appears, another rung on the ladder, another pressure. This is the trap so many modern people fall into. They live under the illusion that if they can just reach one more milestone, then they will finally be allowed to breathe. If they can just get promoted one more time, then they will finally be allowed to be at peace. If their income rises, if they gain more recognition, if they reach a bigger position, then they will finally feel like enough. But that sense of enough keeps moving farther away. Happiness is always delayed. Peace is always placed behind the next condition. Life turns into an endless waiting room, where people believe they will start truly living after completing just one more thing. That is the destination fallacy. We think peace is waiting at the place we are trying to reach. But peace is not at the destination. Peace is in the way we walk. If you only know how to work when your mind is threatened by fear, you will easily confuse stress with effectiveness. If you only know how to move forward through pressure, you will begin to believe that peace is something that makes you slower. But the deeper truth is this: a chaotic mind is never a stable foundation for great achievement. A mind that is too noisy misjudges people, chooses the wrong opportunities, overreacts, makes rushed decisions, and wastes enormous energy on battles that do not matter. Stress may help you explode in the short term, but only calmness allows you to go far without breaking. The middle path of ambition begins with an important redefinition. You must ask yourself again, what is ambition? If ambition means craving superiority, craving attention, craving reinforcement for the ego, sooner or later it will turn you into a slave to outside reactions. But if ambition is transformed into the vow to fully live your potential, create true value, do your work well, cultivate your abilities, and use your career as a vehicle of service, then ambition is no longer an addiction. It becomes a clean source of energy. The difference between these two kinds of ambition is subtle, but deeply important. One kind keeps you dissatisfied, always lacking, always needing to prove yourself. The other makes you serious, focused, and steady, while still leaving space and light within. One kind is built on, I must be more than others to have worth. The other is built on, I have a responsibility to develop the best within me. One is an ego that is starving. The other is character that is growing. From a Buddhist perspective, the issue is not whether you have desire. The issue is how attached you are to the outcome. This is where right effort becomes essential. Right effort is not forcing yourself to do more, nor is it letting yourself drift and calling that surrender. Right effort means bringing your whole heart into what is good, right, and necessary, without locking your identity to a specific outcome so tightly that you lose inner freedom. You give your best, but you do not destroy yourself if the result is not what you hoped for. You strive with full sincerity, but you do not equate your value with a number, a title, praise, or a temporary failure. That is a very powerful way to live, because the unattached person is not weak. The unattached person is simply no longer manipulated. Take a look at modern life. So many people enter the workplace with a divided mind. Their body is at the desk, but their mind is inside worry. They are writing a report while wondering whether someone else is getting ahead of them. They are sitting in a meeting while silently fearing they are not good enough. They are building a career, yet the more they build, the more they feel they are losing themselves. The deepest exhaustion does not come from having too much work. It comes from the mind carrying, during the work itself, the added burden of comparison, defensiveness, tension, and self-judgment. When you are not present, you spend double the energy. You are tired not only from doing, but from internally bracing yourself while doing it. That is why the first step in bringing the middle path into ambition is bringing presence back into action. Do what is in front of you as though it is the only place life is unfolding. Do not work merely to get it done. Do not work merely to reach the next milestone. Learn to be fully inside your work as a form of practice. When you write, just write. When you listen, just listen. When you speak, just speak. When you decide, just decide. When you rest, just rest. A mind that is not constantly torn apart becomes very strong. And the paradox is that once you are no longer excessively scattered by anxiety about results, your real effectiveness begins to rise. Many people think that if they become less stressed, they will lose their edge. But in truth, what they call fire is often just adrenaline fueled by fear. It burns fast, hard, and unsustainably. It creates the feeling that you must always remain in combat mode. But there is another kind of drive, quieter but far stronger. It is purposeful motivation. It arises when you know clearly why you are doing what you are doing. Not to patch a hole inside yourself, not to prove that you are worthy, but because you see that your work has meaning, value, the power to support your family, contribute to others, cultivate your character, and deepen your life. When purpose is clear enough, you do not need the fever of ego to keep moving forward. That is when ambition no longer conflicts with peace, because you are no longer carrying ambition like a wound. You are carrying it like a vow. To walk this path, you need to build what we might call an inner sanctuary, a place within that is stable enough not to be swept away by every change outside. In other words, you need daily non-negotiable habits that protect your mental energy and clarity from the overstimulating environment of the workplace. If you do not intentionally build an inner life, the world will train your mind to move at its rhythm. And the rhythm of the modern world is rarely the rhythm of peace. A conscious life does not have to be complicated, but it must have structure. A morning where you do not touch your phone the moment you wake up. A few minutes of sitting quietly before entering your schedule. A pause to look inward before stepping into work. Deep breaths between meetings. A clear decision not to let late night become the hour when your mind is swallowed by emails, notifications, and unfinished pressure. A protected period of time to return to your body, your family, and silence. These things are not small. They are the architecture that protects the mind. Modern people tend to underestimate pauses, but pauses determine the quality of every movement. If you do not know how to stop, you do not know what is driving you. If you do not know how to become still, you cannot tell the difference between the voice of wisdom and the noise of anxiety. If you do not have inner grounding, you will let your work schedule define your identity. And once your identity depends entirely on performance, any shift in results will make you feel unstable at the core. One of the greatest freedoms a person can attain is not allowing their deepest identity to be tied to the ups and downs of a career. Work may change, rock may change, markets may change, reputation may rise and fall. Today you are praised, tomorrow you are criticized, today the company grows. Tomorrow it may enter crisis. If you make all of those things your refuge, you will live in constant insecurity. But if you know who you are beyond your titles, you will become far steadier. You will still work seriously, but you will no longer collapse every time the outer world shifts. This is not indifference, this is maturity. When you have a core that does not depend entirely on career success or failure, the quality of your work changes. You react less. You get pulled into drama less. You feel less need to prove yourself. You are no longer inflated by praise or distorted by criticism. You become calmer in negotiation, steadier in leadership, clearer in decision-making. And that calmness, in a world full of agitation, becomes a remarkable competitive advantage. A calm mind can see what a panicked mind cannot. When markets become unstable, those without inner grounding make decisions out of fear. When conflict arises, those overly attached to their image react with defensiveness or aggression. When challenged, those centered in ego often choose short-term moves merely to protect their position. But a person with inner calm can wait one more beat, observe one more layer, understand their own motives more clearly, and see the consequences of each choice more deeply. They do not need to win every moment in order to feel safe. That is why they can choose what is right, not only what is immediately beneficial. In leadership, this quality matters even more. Many people think leadership means being forceful, decisive, and high pressure. But there is a deeper kind of leadership. It is the ability to remain clear without becoming harsh, to maintain high standards without turning the environment into a place where people live in fear, to lead through presence, not just through power. Such a person often builds healthier teams, more sustainable decisions, and longer-lasting influence, because ethics and effectiveness are not opposites in the way many assume. In many cases, ethics are exactly what make effectiveness sustainable. The middle path in career does not tell you to avoid competition. It teaches you how to engage in competition without losing your soul. It does not tell you to reject power. It teaches you how to use power without being consumed by it. It does not tell you to deny money. It teaches you to let money remain a tool, not an identity. It does not tell you to live small. It teaches you how to grow without inflating the ego. Here we must look deeply at a common misunderstanding. Many people assume that if you live slowly, mindfully, and in the spirit of Buddhist wisdom, you will struggle to succeed in the modern world. They imagine that peaceful people lack drive, that compassionate people lack sharpness, that those who know contentment no longer have ambition. But the truth is that purified minds often carry tremendous focus. They waste less energy on useless desires, toxic comparison, ego battles, long mental replays, and imagined futures that scatter the mind. Because of that, their energy leaks far less. And energy that does not leak becomes strength. A person who is not overly distracted by ego often works with greater precision. They listen better, learn faster, collaborate more skillfully, know when to endure, and know when to act decisively. They do not waste hours after criticism drowning in self-torment. They do not sink into jealousy when others succeed. They do not need to perform a role in order to feel valuable. As a result, they save an enormous amount of psychological energy that others lose every single day. You may call that stillness, but in practical life, it is strength. To reach that place, you must begin observing your relationship with achievement. When you accomplish something, how does your mind respond? Do you feel gratitude and continue walking with clarity, or do you immediately need something else in order to feel enough? When you fail, do you learn and rise again, or do you instantly conclude that you are worthless? When someone else excels, can you respect and learn from them, or are you triggered by the feeling of falling behind? Each of these reactions is a mirror showing what your ambition is built upon. If the foundation is insecurity, every achievement becomes only a short-term addiction. If the foundation is presence, each achievement becomes a natural part of your growth. A very useful question to ask yourself is this: if no one knew I was doing this, would I still want to do it? This question does not deny the natural human need for recognition. We live in society, and acknowledgement is natural. But this question helps you see your motivation more clearly. If no one applauded, would the truest part of you still find this work worth doing? If the answer is yes, then you are touching the intrinsic value of craftsmanship and contribution. But if all your motivation collapses the moment outside attention disappears, then you may be driven too strongly by a hunger for status. The middle path invites us to step away from that hunger, little by little, not by rejecting success, but by purifying the reason we pursue it. When motivation is purified, you begin to do less but more deeply. You no longer say yes to everything just because you are afraid of missing out. You no longer fill your calendar just to feel important. You no longer treat burnout as a badge of honor. You begin to choose, and the ability to choose is a sign of freedom. Choosing what truly matters, choosing the right pace, choosing opportunities that do not force you to betray your core values, choosing professional relationships that do not require you to live falsely, choosing a kind of success where, upon arrival, you are still yourself. This is a difficult art in a culture obsessed with optimization. Modern culture constantly whispers that more is always better. More connections, more opportunities, more projects, more money, more influence. But it rarely asks, at what cost? The middle path always asks that question, not with cold moralism, but with compassion and wisdom. It asks, does this make your mind brighter or darker? Does this make your life deeper or shallower? Does this make you more free or more entangled? These questions help you move through the modern marketplace without losing your inner compass. When entering important negotiations, remember that calmness does not make you weak. On the contrary, it helps you see benefits, risks, the motives of the other person, and even the hidden urges within yourself. Those who are too hungry to win often reveal many vulnerabilities. Those who are too afraid of losing often accept what they should never accept. Calm people have the space to think, the ability to step back half a step so they do not sell their core values for too little. They understand that not every opportunity is worth taking, not every battle is worth entering, and not every victory is worth being proud of. The same is true in leadership. You can lead through pressure, but eventually you yourself will be swallowed by that pressure. You can force people to follow you through fear, but where fear lives too long, creativity and honesty begin to die. A calm leader with ethics and inner strength is not weak. Such a person knows how to stay centered when everything shakes. They can face crisis without becoming a source of crisis for others. They understand that how they succeed matters just as much as whether they succeed. This is a quiet revolution in the way we understand performance. High performance is no longer forcing yourself to the limit every day. High performance becomes the ability to sustain quality, clarity, kindness, and depth over a long journey, not blazing for a moment and then collapsing, not shining briefly and then becoming hollow, but going far, going steadily, and going with light. Still, this does not happen automatically. It must be practiced. No one can listen to a single video and instantly free themselves from psychological structures that have formed over many years. But recognition is the first step. After that comes practice, very concrete practice. Each morning, before becoming your social role, return to being a conscious human being. Do not let the first email of the day determine the state of your nervous system. Do not let the world touch your mind before you have touched it yourself. Sit quietly for a few minutes. Breathe. Feel your body. Recognize your emotional state. Remind yourself, today I will work from clarity, not from panic. A small ritual like this, repeated day after day, can change the way you enter your entire life. During the day, learn to create micro-pauses. One breath before replying to a difficult email. One moment of silence before walking into a meeting. 1 second to recognize irritation before reacting. These small pauses are where freedom is born. If you can create even a tiny space between stimulus and response, you are no longer living entirely by habit. And many of the most important decisions in a career are actually shaped in these small moments. Practice working in deep focus blocks instead of constantly tearing your attention apart with notifications, social media, and inner restlessness. Deep focus does not only increase productivity, it is also a worldly form of meditation. In those moments, the mind wanders less into the past and the future. It gathers itself. It becomes less chaotic. And interestingly, after some time, this kind of concentration begins to reduce exhaustion because you are no longer wasting yourself through hundreds of meaningless shifts of attention. At night, before sleep, do not only review what you did or did not complete. Look deeper. From what state of mind did you work today? Were there moments when ego drove you too strongly? Moments when you said something unnecessary just to protect your image? Moments when you traded peace for a very small feeling of victory? Moments when you forgot to breathe, forgot to feel, forgot that you are a human being and not merely a machine of productivity? This gentle nightly reflection gradually refines the mind. More importantly, find or build a healthy community that reminds you of what truly matters. Because living in balance in an environment that glorifies obsession is not easy. If everyone around you treats burnout as normal, busyness as status, and constant competition as the meaning of life, you will be easily swept along. We need people, spaces, teachings, and conversations that help us remember there is another way to live, a way that is both deep and strong. Both ambitious and peaceful guidance matters too. It may come from a teacher, a mentor, a wise elder, a spiritual tradition, a practice community, or teachings deep enough to realign your perspective. No one stays clear forever in this age entirely alone. We need to be reminded. We need to be reflected back to ourselves. We need help returning when the mind begins drifting into extremes. With the right person or the right set of values to lean on, the path of balance becomes less lonely. And then one day, you may realize something beautiful. Your career is no longer the place where you try to prove that you exist. It becomes the place where you practice growing up. Every meeting becomes an opportunity to practice presence. Every pressure becomes a chance to see your old attachments more clearly. Every failure becomes a chance to strengthen inner stability that does not depend on results. Every success becomes a chance to practice humility and gratitude. Every workday is no longer just a day of making a living. It becomes a form of active meditation, where you do not run away from life, but use life itself to illuminate who you are. This is the wholeness so many people are searching for without yet knowing its name. It is the state in which career growth no longer erodes spiritual depth. On the contrary, if lived rightly, the career journey itself can make you more mature, more still, more grounded, and more kind. You do not need to choose between success and awakening. What you need is a way of living in which success is not built upon the loss of awareness. Remember this: the opposite of ambition is not peace. The opposite of peace is blind ambition. When ambition is illuminated by mindfulness, ethics, purpose, and presence, it no longer impoverishes the soul. It becomes a beautiful force, a force that helps you move forward without losing your heart, helps you do meaningful work without losing your kindness, helps you go far without leaving yourself behind. Maybe right now, you are in a season of intense pressure. Maybe you are tired from holding yourself together for too long. Maybe you have become so used to always being strong, always being better, always proving yourself, that you have forgotten what it feels like to live lightly. Maybe you fear that if you slow down even a little, everything will fall apart. But try to be honest with yourself. Is the price you are paying truly worth it? And could there be another path? One where you still move forward, but not by leaving your soul behind? The answer is yes, but it asks for a different kind of courage. Not the courage to work harder, the courage not to cooperate with a model of success that is quietly destroying you. Not the courage to outrun the crowd, the courage to listen again to your own deepest rhythm. Not the courage to prove your worth to the world, the courage to live from your true worth, even when the world does not immediately understand it. The middle path of ambition is not flashy. It does not promise thrill, conquest, or constant victory. It offers something far more precious, an inner life that is not shattered by the very things you are pursuing on the outside. A kind of success in which, when you finally arrive, you are still whole. A kind of growth in which, the farther you go, the brighter your mind becomes, and then your career is no longer a hunger. It becomes a path, no longer a place where you run from emptiness, a place where you carry your light through the world. No longer a place where you cling to your worth, a place where you express the value that has already been cultivated within. If you are still listening now, perhaps some part of you is tired of a life that always has to strain, always has to rush, always has to win at any cost. Perhaps you do not want to give up ambition. You simply no longer want to sacrifice your whole inner life to feed it. And that is the most beautiful moment to begin. You do not need to wait until total burnout. You do not need to lose everything before learning how to protect what matters. You can begin today, in the way you breathe, in the way you work, in the way you set goals, in the way you speak to yourself, in the way you step into your career without forgetting to return to your own heart. Try beginning with one simple reminder: I am not here only to become successful. I am here to become a deeper human being on the way to success. I am not here only to achieve more. I am here to learn how not to lose myself in the process of achieving. I am not here only to prove to the world that I can. I am here to live in such a way that when night falls, my heart is still quiet enough to smile at itself. And perhaps that is the greatest success of all. Before we end, ask yourself one quiet question. If tomorrow I continue walking the same career path, with what inner posture do I want to walk it? With hunger or with light? With blind pressure or with clear purpose? With the fear of not being enough or with steady presence? The answer to that question will silently shape the quality of your entire life. If this video has touched something in you, do not just listen and leave it there. Choose one small thing you can practice today to bring the middle path into your ambition. It could be 5 minutes of sitting quietly before you begin work. It could be one deep breath before reacting. It could be saying no to an opportunity that does not align with your core values. It could be refusing to use busyness as proof of your worth. It could be allowing yourself to succeed without burning yourself alive in the process. And remember this as the final hook to carry with you after today's video. You do not have to choose between a brilliant career and a peaceful soul. When you walk the middle path rightly, peace itself becomes the foundation of a career that is truly sustainable, clear and deeply meaningful. If content like this helps you slow down, look deeper, and live more consciously in the middle of modern life, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you do not miss future videos on the wisdom of the Buddha, meditation, inner healing, and the path of mindful living under the pressures of everyday life. You can also share this video with someone who looks highly successful on the outside but feels exhausted on the inside. Perhaps this is exactly what they need to hear right now. Thank you for being here. May you go far not only in your career, but also deep within your soul. May you succeed without losing your stillness. And may you, with every step in life, remember to return to yourself.